Hello YouTube, welcome back to what I'm calling the Moon Eagle Academy. In this series we're basically sharing information, presenting topics. It's not necessarily a healing video, although these videos can give you a lot of information which may assist you in your journey. So today I really wanted to talk about ethics. I know, boring, right? Is it good? Is it bad? How can you tell the difference? Both of these are quite lovely. But it's a really important topic, particularly when we go into energy work, about being very upfront, being very clear about boundaries and consent. This also applies to the rest of our lives as well. But if we can really grasp onto it here when we're working with energy, that really helps us in so many other different areas because we get in the habit of thinking about these things. And it's really important to think about our impact that we have when we interact with other people. And to make sure, it happens. Sometimes we do something with the best of intentions, and people's feelings get hurt. And that happens even with consent, even with good boundaries. It happens. It's part of life, and it's part of learning to, be a part of a community, be a social being. But with magic and energy work and healing work, it's really important because it can really affect some really core issues and can really trigger a lot of past trauma and pain. So let's just talk a little bit about some real basic things. So for me, I always, I have people who do request for work all the time, or for prayers, or for anything, and I'm fine with that, with permission. What I have a problem with is when people want me to work on other people and I don't have that person's permission. So I don't work on people without permission. And I recommend, anything you do with somebody, always make sure that there is permission. And, sometimes in session when I'm with somebody, I have they have consented by coming into session with me to do work. But if I'm not sure if I'm crossing a boundary or if someone is comfortable, that is the time where you ask, is this okay? Is that okay? Some people are really, massage therapists are really great about this because they're working on the body, and that's very intimate and close. And so they work very hard about with making sure that people are comfortable and that we're not crossing personal boundaries. So when people get started with energy work or a magical practice and they see some of the wonderful things that they can do, then their next instinct is to share that and to really want to do good stuff for everybody all around them. Oh, they care about them. They mean well, and I'm sure they mean well. But whenever you're doing a work, you really need to have that permission from somebody, even if it's healing, that is clear, that you have the okay to be up in somebody's energy and, tinkering. Because if not, you're really imposing your will on somebody else, and you're taking away somebody's ability to choose for themselves, to choose their experiences, to choose what kind of energies they want in their life. And that's not okay. Which brings me to probably the most egregious example of this. Some people think, oh, it's cursing people. That's the worst thing you can do. And while that's up there, I'm not giving people a free pass on that. Probably the worst, absolute worst thing you could ever do to a person is to cast a love spell on them. And I have seen this again and again and again. That this never goes well. Your best case scenario is that it doesn't work at all. That's your best case scenario. So If it doesn't work, consider yourself lucky and maybe lesson learned and move on. So, and I will talk about maybe right ways that if you're going to use love magic, there are correct ways to do this. But picking out a specific person, like person A over there that you've got your eye on, and you're just sure that they are the one for you, they are going to make you so happy. You can't be happy, you can't have a good life without this person. Number one, I would say, have you talked to this person? Have you expressed your interest to them before, lighting candles and, harvesting plants and using special oils and chanting names that you don't know the origin of? That's really important, That's at least being upfront and honest with somebody and saying, hey, I'm interested in you. Are you interested in me? If they say no, you have your answer. Put your spell books away. There are many reasons why this is wrong if you do this. One, again, imposing your will on another being. You are taking away someone's ability to consent. And if you do not have consent, it is rape. By the way, this video is now just demonetized because I said that. But it's really important. If you do a love spell on somebody and it works, you have magically roofied them. And that's not okay. I really want to get this across. You have violated somebody at a very basic level of their soul. Don't do it. There, I paused, said nothing, made eye contact, specifically because it is really that important. Now, okay, you didn't listen to what I said, so here's what can happen. Almost always, when these spells work, it generally leads to some sort of violence or obsession, obsession and violence. The two go hand in hand. Usually, either the person's will is in conflict with your desire, and that can cause a violent explosion, or you've managed to subvert their will, and at some point you lose interest in them for whatever reason. Maybe the spell worked too well, and you thought the person you could never get enough of, you have had enough of, so you decide to leave, and now they become aggressive. So that is, I think some of the worst case scenarios of blowback from any kind of energy work or a spell, or sort of manipulation of possibilities, has been from a love magic gone awry. And like literal, violence, murder on murderous rage levels. Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to the other person. Okay, are we clear on that? I like pointing out love magic because it really typifies, like it's just so clear cut, like what is not okay. If you are truly interested in drawing love into your life, there are ways to work with energy to draw an appropriate partner to you, who you have not said, only this person. You throw your energy. You are casting your net wide and saying, here, who wants to come in? And that allows someone to say, hey, I'm up for that. And that's okay, because they had the choice. So you want to leave people their choice. This is, I think most of magical ethics boils down to consent. That is key. So when we move on to like healing magic, and I have had people do this, oh, it's okay, they didn't give me their permission, they're not into this sort of thing, but I asked their higher self and they agreed, and I was like, no. Because people have told me, oh, you can just send healing to them. I'm like, you can send love to someone, you can love, and you can hope for what they need to have, that they are supported. You can do that. That's fine. That's wishing someone the best, and there's nothing wrong with that. When you start throwing energy techniques into this, or spells or magic or calling on spirits without that person's permission, again, you are imposing your will on another person. One of my teachers would call that sorcery or black magic. So, even if it's for their own good, I know, you know what's good for them. They make terrible choices. You cannot save them from their terrible choices. In fact, in doing so, you may perpetuate that cycle even longer. So, it's hard to step back when someone is suffering and in pain and you just want to make it better. And, I in the past have believed myself that I can make this better. And really, I couldn't. I might be able to alleviate the immediate concern. And same for you. You might be able to alleviate the immediate concern. But the underlying pattern is still there and not resolved. And might not get resolved until the person reaches to a point where they resolve it themselves. And you have to allow people to have their experiences. So that is consent, also boundary issues. So when we talk about boundaries and energetic boundaries, I think that's the next big piece of this. People often will ask me when I'm out in the world, am I aware of what's going on? Because in session I will track people's energies and what's going on with them, and I can track pretty well actually. When I'm out in the world, I don't do that. For one, it takes a great deal of focus for me, and I have to be in the right kind of space and mindset to do that. I'm not always switched on. That would be exhausting for me. And there's some people who have talents and gifts that makes it hard for them to shut off or to not engage with that. But it's really important that even if you are seeing things, even if you are getting information, that you maintain appropriate boundaries with people. It is not your job to go up to somebody you don't know and give them information. It's very rare where that is the case. And I don't get, information off of people all the time, or very strong things, unless I'm in danger. Unless something is a danger to me, or, something is lighting up like, hey, you should really, get to know this person more. But things like that. These are, not, again, non-intimate details about people. I don't get that. I like to joke with people, say I'm only mildly telepathic. And though that sort of connection is usually with people that I'm really close with and in sync with. And again, it's usually something trivial like, you know what I could go for right now? I could go for a burger. And like someone else, hey, you want to go get a burger? That kind of thing. I mean, which is cool, but not exactly life-changing. So you want to be respectful of other people's boundaries. Mind your own business. One of my teacher's favorite sayings is, it's not my business. It's not my business. And particularly, when we're talking about, I think this person thinks this about me or that about me, or they're saying this about me. And one of the best things they ever said to me was, it's not my business what other people think of me. Now, if I could follow that consistently, I would be a much happier person. But I throw it out there because maybe you can. It is not your business. There are very few things in our lives that are really, truly our business. And I have been on the sides of this where it's very intrusive when somebody is tracking an energy in you and you haven't given them permission. And I've had this happen to myself where someone says, I was trying to track this, and I'm like, I was mystified because A, I had no awareness that they were going to do that. And I was busy doing something else, so I had no awareness someone was intruding. Now, they couldn't pick up anything, which I thought was interesting. Because that freaked them out, but it wasn't their business, so my energy wasn't trackable by them. When you're in session with somebody, when you have consented to work with somebody, it is natural for that energy tracking to happen. And that goes back and forth. So practitioners, it is fair for someone to track what you're doing in their field and how your energy appears to them, or how they experience it. And that's good. And that actually can help the session. But once that session is over, you're back to your energy is your energy and their energy is their energy. So we really want to have those containers for that. It's very important. Boundaries and consent. I think that is the key for most magical ethics. And of course, the other one, do no harm. It is possible to do harm with energy and with magical workings, if you want to put it that way. So don't do that. Don't consciously do that. We all unconsciously sling stuff out at people. It happens. We are not perfect beings. In my younger days, I may have even thought, this person has hurt me, I am justified in doing something. I will tell you, karma is real and seems to react quite swiftly when it comes to energetic work. So, I have learned to not do that. And luckily it only took me one time. That is not the way to be. And that's not who you want to be either. So don't call up anything to do harm. Don't do harm yourself, because you will be literally swimming in that energy and that vibration. And what that will do is really harm your energy bodies and your physical body too, if you do it long enough. So why am I bringing this up? And this is a long video, I know. Thank you for staying with me for all of this. We need to be very conscious in how we present and how we interact, how we show up in the world with our energy. And also, if you're on the client end of things, you need to have some way to, discern, other than giftedness with energy work and, psychic senses, about whether a practitioner is a good fit for you. So other than just rapport, which some people you're going to have a better rapport with than others, you want to make sure that their ethics are impeccable. And you want to make sure that they are very conscious of your boundaries and your consent, and to make very clear what that means, and to keep checking in with you while work is going on to make sure that things are okay. And it's, as a practitioner, it is our job to create a safe container for whatever work that needs to happen. And we cannot do that if we do not respect people's boundaries and if we don't obtain consistently consent from them for the work that we are doing in the moment. That is very, very important. So as you go out there and you interact with different people, on your end, keep this in mind, and then also see how other people are presenting. And, discern. Is this somebody that you feel you can trust in your space? Because that is really important. There is no reason to spend time with people if you don't trust them. It's just that simple. If you can't trust somebody in your space to follow very simple guidelines of respecting your boundaries, making sure that they have your consent, don't work with them. I don't care how talented they are. Psychic ability is no guarantee of good ethics. It's no guarantee of good character either. So that is completely separate from ability. Character and psychic ability or magical ability, completely two different things. So that is very important for you to know. And I think that's what I'm going to wrap up this video for. So thank you for sticking with me this whole time. It's, it's a big topic, but I think we can really boil it down. Consent, boundaries, intentions. So make sure people get consent. Make sure they respect personal boundaries. And make sure that their intent is pure, that they are trying to help and not just further their own agenda or power. All right, thanks so much for joining me. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. I hope you liked it. If you want to help support the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. If you'd like to support my work, there are links to my website down below where you can book sessions with me or simply leave a PayPal donation. You can also join my Patreon community for extra perks like weekly prayer ceremonies and monthly group healing events. If you can't afford to do that, you can always just show your support by simply liking the video, leaving a comment, and sharing it on social media. Until next time, peace and blessings.